You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 10 o'clock, taking a live look outside from our camera on Treasure Island back at the city of San Francisco. It is Friday, December 12th. Lots to get to this morning as we follow stories in our community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for being with us this Friday. Here's a look at some of our news headlines right now. Investigators, including the NTSB, are in Hayward investigating yesterday's explosion that destroyed 3 buildings and sent 6 people to the hospital. PG&E says a third-party construction company damaged an underground gas line. This happened on East Llewellyn Boulevard, just west of Mission. PG&E says they will support the investigation. Rescues and evacuations as this fire ripped through a 6-story apartment building in San Francisco. Firefighters say 45 people are displaced right now. This happened at around 3 this morning on Golden Gate Avenue in the Tenderloin. Firefighters say it started on the 6th floor, and they were luckily able to stop it from spreading down to the other floors. Nobody was hurt. And a hearing today in Oakland could end a long-standing police shooting case. The Alameda County DA moving to drop charges against former San Leandro police officer Jason Fletcher. Police say he tased, then shot and killed Stephen Taylor during a shoplifting call at a Walmart in April 2020. Taylor was holding a baseball bat at the time. The DA says that she can't prove manslaughter charges beyond a reasonable doubt. All right, the weekend just about upon us. Let's get a check on our first alert forecast for your Friday. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Another chilly day for us today, off into those inland spots with daytime highs mostly sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s. This has been the case all week long throughout our inland spots, with a dense fog advisory in effect until 11 a.m. anywhere from Antioch over into Concord up into Napa too, sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s throughout that valley. You make your way over into our coastal communities, daytime highs are just right around average, sitting in the 60s for the most part. But let's take a quick look at what's happening for us as we head into the next couple of days. Starting off with, well, the winds, because we've been dealing with a little bit breezier conditions in those inland spots compared to some of our coastal communities. But here's what's happening for us into this afternoon. All throughout the bay, we can see winds anywhere up to around 10 to 15 miles per hour at times, and that's the case as we head into the evening hours tonight too. Take a look at the next 7 days. The big story for us has to do with rain right around the corner. This doesn't happen until next Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's important to note this is the time of year where we're starting to see some of those heavier atmospheric rivers push in from offshore. Just this week alone, the Pacific Northwest got hit heavy, anywhere up to around 17 inches of rain in some communities all the way up into Washington state. Now that system missed us, but what we're going to start noticing is more showers rolling in from offshore throughout the winter season. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, especially Monday night specifically, that's when we're expecting to see those showers return into the forecast. We're going to keep a close eye on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center too. Daytime highs along the bay, just a little bit more mild in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Along our inland spots, it's still a little bit below average, sitting mostly in the low 50s into this weekend. Back to you.
Dozens of people are out of their homes right now after fire tore through this 6-story apartment building in San Francisco. This is video from Citizen app along Golden Gate Avenue in the Tenderloin early this morning. Firefighters say this fire started on the top floor just after 3 a.m., forcing 45 people out into the cold. They say that some escaped on their own, others had to be rescued.
We have those individuals temporarily housed in 2 muni buses at this location. Those muni buses are heated, so they have a nice warm place to stay, be with their neighbors, and it's also going to be a location where city services and Red Cross will be able to assist them moving forward with this incident.
Firefighters also rescued a cat from the burning building and reunited this kitty with its owner. Fire officials say the fire is now contained. No injuries to report. The cause is still under investigation. Today, firefighters are still at the scene of yesterday's big explosion and fire in an East Bay neighborhood. And now there are some new questions about the emergency response. I can't get over how incredible that video is. That is the moment the blast destroyed a home in Hayward. Officials blame a gas explosion. 1 home was destroyed, several others heavily damaged. 6 people sent to the hospital. Alameda County fire officials say they're all expected to be okay. A crews on the scene spoke with people who said the explosion felt like an earthquake.
Boom, like everything shook, things fell. It was like we literally thought there was a car in our living room.
And you can see the scale of the destruction with debris spread across the property and onto the street. Our Veronica Macias is out at the scene where investigators are still trying to figure out what happened and why not everybody was immediately evacuated.
PG&E crews now back at the scene of this explosion on Llewellyn and Hayward, and so many people still shaken by that explosion that happened. In that video moments after, you could see crew members of that construction project here calling out for a man named Danny, looking for one of their own. Dramatic Ring camera video showing that gas explosion rocking this neighborhood at about 9:30 Thursday morning. The explosion blasted out windows, shaking the street and sending a total of 6 people to nearby hospitals. PG&E says that construction crews damaged a gas line. That was early in the morning. The entire block surrounding the explosion evacuated by law enforcement after the blast. Some neighbors wondering why there wasn't an evacuation order in the 2 hours leading to it when PG&E knew there was gas leaking here. One neighbor telling us that she was never notified of a gas leak. The only reason she knew anything was because there was a crew member checking on her gas meter. That was at about 8:30 in the morning.
And he said that they were turning off the gas because of something with the road crew. So we were like, okay. So we were even more confused because we're like, thought the gas was off. How'd the explosion happen?
Out here, you could see debris still scattered everywhere as they begin the cleanup process. PG&E says they do not execute evacuations. They leave that up to first responders. Meanwhile, Alameda County Fire says it did not evacuate this neighborhood because they came onto the scene and they were told the fire department did not need assistance. So that being investigated by the NTSB, a lot of questions, especially from family members who have loved ones, 3 people seriously hurt.
Well, the construction in the area was part of an $11 million improvement effort known as the East Llewellyn Boulevard Project. Crews out there were working to widen the sidewalks, add bike lanes, and fix stormwater drains. We reached out to the company handling that project, Oakland-based Redgwick Construction, and have not heard back. Still a lot of questions. We are going to continue following this story as it develops. You can stay with us on air on our website, kpix.com, and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, firefighters face a lot of risks on the job, putting their lives on the line. And research shows that they have a higher risk of death from several forms of cancer long after these fires. According to the San Francisco Firefighters Cancer Prevention Foundation, 65% of firefighters will be diagnosed with cancer because of their high exposure to carcinogens on the job. Now, that is prompting the department to make some major changes. Suji Nam explains.
The glory wall here. I've got my space here in the house where I can put up a few things from memorabilia from when I was on the job.
Tony Stefani reflects on his nearly 3 decades of service with the San Francisco Fire Department.
It's a picture of my crew, and you got my backside there.
He was a captain at Fire Station Rescue 1, known as the Alley Cats back in the day.
I am right here.
But in 2003, Stefani made the difficult decision to cut his career short. He was diagnosed with cancer, transitional cell carcinoma, and remembers this conversation with his doctor.
If I worked in the chemical industry, I told him no, that I was a firefighter here in the city. And he told me that, well, I hate to tell you, but you do work in the chemical industry, and this is probably an accumulation of the toxins that you've ingested and inhaled for the last 27 years on the job.
Stefani and his colleagues discovered that their turnout gear, which contains a water-resistant chemical known as PFAS, more commonly known as forever chemicals, has been exposing them to carcinogens in the field.
There was multiple times when I was exposed to these chemicals that we did not know anything about at that time.
But now, the San Francisco Fire Department is paving the way.
State-of-the-art personal protective equipment.
Fire Captain John Ayers says every one of their firefighters will be receiving non-PFAS equipment as soon as possible.
Our pores are open and subject to materials that could be passing through the turnouts. And by having PFAS-free materials, like in our moisture barrier and on the outer shell, It'll prevent toxins from entering our bodies.
The department will be the first in the Bay Area to use equipment without forever chemicals.
I'm one of 1,500 firefighters here in the city and county of San Francisco, and if we can be trend-setting to make sure all firefighters are in safer gear, that's a good win for all of us in the fire service.
After retiring, Stefani founded the San Francisco Firefighters Cancer Prevention Foundation, providing medical and financial resources for firefighters statewide.
Knowing what I know now about the toxic exposures on the job, I would have definitely have taken better care of myself at a working fire. And the culture was a lot different then too. It was who's going to stay in the longest and who's the toughest.
Stefani is cancer-free and says he will keep the fight not just for himself, but for his fellow brothers and sisters in uniform.
This move makes the San Francisco Fire Department the largest U.S. fire department to adopt gear without forever chemicals. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, Santa Clara County getting ready to welcome thousands of sports fans from around the globe. Now they are working to make sure local businesses are not overlooked during the World Cup and the Super Bowl. Plus, how local volunteers are restoring native species and planting seeds of hope.
These are going to be here for decades. Like, you can come back in like 30, 40 years and know like you helped build this.
Heading into this weekend's forecast, it's still a chilly one for us widespread throughout the bay. Daytime highs sitting in the low 50s throughout our inland areas. That dense fog advisory this morning lifts around 11 a.m. throughout most our inland spots, and then we'll actually catch some sunshine as we head into our Saturday forecast, with rain returning right around the corner as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, as we head over into the bay, temperatures have actually been a little bit warmer for this time of year compared to our friends along our inland spots. 60s and upper 50s on tap for us each day back and forth. We'll also get those chances of showers right around the corner too.
There are 60 days until Levi Stadium takes center stage for Super Bowl 60. The big game and other events like the World Cup are expected to bring in more than $1 billion in revenue to the area. The lottery is now open for single game tickets for any of the 6 World Cup matchups. Winners will be chosen in a random draw in January, and fans who entered previous ticket lotteries still have to submit a new application form. The South Bay is going to host 8 countries for next summer's group stages. Switzerland headlines the list with Austria, Australia, Algeria, Paraguay, Qatar, and Jordan. The 8th team will be determined in March. People at Levi Stadium and South Bay leaders hoping to take advantage of the international spotlight. Len Ramirez spoke to them and a small business owner who's skeptical of their promises.
Inside Mio Vicino, a family-run Santa Clara restaurant just a few miles from Levi Stadium, owner Johnny McGrew is hoping Super Bowl and World Cup fever brings something he didn't see last time, more customers.
We would love that, to be able to cater some events and, you know, just a little exposure for the restaurant, but not just for us, for all of Santa Clara and the small businesses that are here.
From small businesses to major hotels, the entire region is strategizing. Just down the road at the Santa Clara Marriott, the mayors of 5 cities, Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, Mountain View, Milpitas, and Cupertino, gathered for an event hosted by the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. It's all part of a new effort called the Games Initiative, a regional strategy aimed at showcasing what these communities have to offer football and soccer fans.
San Francisco in 2016 got 57% of the overall revenue. Santa Clara, the home to the stadium, got only 7. San Jose got 12. That's not logical. And it's not something that is a far reach for us. When we start looking beyond our city's borders, we recognize that there's a lot here to give people reason to come. And that's what we want to change.
The Games Initiative includes a 64-page guide to the Games magazine, highlighting local businesses and attractions, plus monthly planning meetings with the host committees, themed local events, and watch parties, all intended to steer visitors into businesses across the valley. Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gilmore says the opportunity is unprecedented.
Right after the draw, I was contacted by the Consul General of Uruguay, and yesterday one of their sports reporters came. Tomorrow, they have a delegation that's coming to look for an area for their Fan Fest here in Santa Clara, so it's starting already.
Sunnyvale Mayor Larry Klein highlighted his city's quaint downtown and new modern accommodations.
We just opened the latest hotel in Sunnyvale in the Bay Area, and so, you know, the Treehouse Hotel, a European brand, which is kind of on point for bringing in those international travelers.
Back at Mio Vicino, Johnny says despite the crowds that poured into the Bay Area during the last Super Bowl, his restaurant barely felt it.
As somebody that worked on the stadium campaign, you know, it'd be nice to, you know, see a little bit more, involvement for Santa Clara, our crispy polenta.
As he prepares for an international spotlight to land on his hometown once again, Johnny says business is good, but he admits he's hungry for more.
You're welcome.
While the Super Bowl will be in Santa Clara, the fan experience is going to be in San Francisco at Moscone Center. Fan experience is opening on February 4th. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, restoring native species one plant at a time. The volunteer effort to make San Francisco's Presidio thrive.
It's healing in a way. You know, we heal the planet, we heal ourselves.
Here's our daytime highs real fast, and here's what's happening for us as we head outside. That dense fog advisory is for all the highlighted zones and counties on this map in that gray color. This includes the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, all the way up into the North Bay, too, as we zoom up into that region. Daytime highs today sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s throughout most of the Bay. We'll actually see some 60s trickled in there, too, the more south we go, all the way over to Fremont, San Jose, and stretch down into Los Gatos this afternoon. One of our warmest spots today, Half Moon Bay in the upper 60s, close to the 70s. But you see that blue color on the map. We still have that beach hazard statement in effect. Rip currents, sneaker waves, waves anywhere up to around 12 to 16 feet high. This is no joke, so just be very mindful of that. And of course, we were talking about dog walking weather. Well, of course, along the coastline, if you like going to Fort Funston, that's a great spot to go. But make sure the dogs are on a leash and they're not heading into that water. It's dangerous right now for all of us across the board. Here's what's happening for us as we head into the next 7 days. Partly cloudy skies on tap for us as we head into this weekend. Early next week, around Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's when the rain returns for us here in the Bay Area. Daytime highs at that point will actually start to warm up a little bit more. We'll see upper 50s in the forecast for our inland spots right around the corner. But somehow we made it to Friday.
We did. A bitter blow, though, to the Bay Area beer industry. After 50 years, Anheuser-Busch announced that it is closing the Budweiser plant in Fairfield early next year. Fairfield's mayor blamed California politics, calling the state a hostile business environment, and warned that the closure will impact local employment and revenue. More than 250 people work at that Fairfield plant. Busch also plans to close a New Hampshire facility and sell one in New Jersey, redistributing operations elsewhere. The company says full-time employees at affected plants will be offered other positions.
I am shocked. I'm saddened, and I'm also angry. I think that that is some kind of devious Grinch business right before Christmas to do that kind of a thing.
This is Solano County's second billion-dollar business to announce its closing next year after Valero announced plans to shutter its refinery in Benicia. In San Francisco, new playgrounds and a dog park opening to the public again after facing an uncertain future for a while there. Crane Cove Park has been a source of pride in the Dog Patch neighborhood since it opened near Chase Center in 2020. But last spring, a financial scandal nearly derailed the upgrades. That is when a nonprofit called the San Francisco Parks Alliance admitted that it used the money earmarked for the project to cover operating expenses instead. But the plan did get back on track. In this week's Project Earth, another milestone for the native plants and critters at San Francisco's Presidio. Over the weekend, dozens of volunteers rolled up their sleeves and created a safe new habitat and passage for them. On an early, chilly morning, about 100 volunteers and staff gathered at Sunset Scrub in the Presidio. At a slope below Immigrant Point, they pulled out their tools and got to work.
You're doing good for the community.
Armed with a little shovel, Xavier Maximus Clark.
You're planting these, you're planting seeds. These are going to be here for decades. Like, you can come back in like 30, 40 years and know like you helped build this.
Sunset Scrub is the latest in a series of dune restoration projects shepherded by the Presidio Trust.
We're planting about 2,000 native plants today, including things like coastal buckwheat, dune tansy, lizard tail.
It's good for the Presidio, good for the environment, and it makes it just a nicer place to be.
All the plantings are part of a larger effort at the Presidio to restore native ecosystems.
Since the mid-1990s, the Presidio has been restoring piece by piece small parcels of the former dunescape that covered much of San Francisco.
Lou Stringer is Associate Director of Natural Resources at the Trust.
In addition to just bringing back these native plants that once were here, those plants support a web of life. They support insect life. That insect life supports bird life and lizards and all sorts of animals up the food chain.
This habitat will help rare and endangered species like the San Francisco Lysenja and spine flowers thrive. Not only that, thanks to this restoration, the Sunset Scrub area can now connect with the North Dunes, which underwent restoration last year.
It allows for a continuous corridor of habitat for wildlife to be able to move through the area between Washington and Lincoln Boulevard.
Native plants are also really great for our soil. They're really great for carbon sequestration, and they're really great for pollinators, which we obviously need to keep our food supply.
As for Xavier, he is up for lending a hand.
You know, just be out in nature. If you look around, it's a nice view, the ocean out there. So it's healing in a way. You know, we heal the planet, we heal ourselves.
Planting hope for the future. We have more information on how to volunteer if you're interested on our website, kpix.com. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, offering cash to try to get guns off the street. We're going to meet a community group who says events like these are needed now more than ever after one of their own was just shot on a high school campus.
And so when I got the phone call and his mom and his sister was calling me crying and screaming, I was scared.
And let's take a live look outside from our camera on top of the Salesforce Tower before we head to break. It is 10:26 on a Friday morning. We're going to have your top stories and a check on your first alert forecast when we come back.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device. You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Friday morning. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines right now. Investigators, including the NTSB, are in Hayward investigating yesterday's explosion that destroyed 3 buildings and sent 6 people to the hospital. PG&E says it was a third-party construction company that damaged an underground gas line. This happened on East Llewellyn Boulevard, just west of Mission. PG&E says they will support the investigations. Fire ripped through a 6-story apartment building in San Francisco's Tenderloin neighborhood this morning. Dozens of people are now out of their homes. It happened at around 3 a.m. on Golden Gate Avenue Firefighters say it started on the 6th floor and they were able to stop it from spreading down to the lower floors. Nobody was hurt. No more warnings for red light runners in San Jose. Starting today, you'll get a full-blown ticket if you run a red light at some of the city's most dangerous intersections. They are Lee and Parkmore, Monterey and Branham, Keys and 3rd, and Bascom and Camden. Fines go up to $500. It is a $200 fine for rolling a right red turn. After 50 years, Anheuser-Busch announced that it is closing the Budweiser plant in Fairfield early next year. More than 250 people work at that plant. Busch also plans to close a New Hampshire facility and sell one in New Jersey, redistributing operations elsewhere. The company says full-time employees at affected plants will be offered other positions. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast as we look ahead to our weekend. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Another chilly day for us today, off into those inland spots with daytime highs mostly sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s. This has been the case all week long throughout our inland spots, with a dense fog advisory in effect until 11 a.m. anywhere from Antioch over into Concord up into Napa too, sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s throughout that valley. You make your way over into our coastal communities, daytime highs are just right around average, sitting in the 60s for the most part. But let's take a quick look at what's happening for us as we head into the next couple of days. Starting off with, well, the winds, because we've been dealing with a little bit breezier conditions in those inland spots compared to some of our coastal communities. But here's what's happening for us into this afternoon. All throughout the bay, we can see winds anywhere up to around 10 to 15 miles per hour at times, and that's the case as we head into the evening hours tonight too. Take a look at the next 7 days. The big story for us has to do with rain right around the corner. This doesn't happen until next Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's important to note this is the time of year where we're starting to see some of those heavier atmospheric rivers push in from offshore. Just this week alone, the Pacific Northwest got hit heavy, anywhere up to around 17 inches of rain in some communities all the way up into Washington state. Now that system missed us, but what we're going to start noticing is more showers rolling in from offshore throughout the winter season. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, especially Monday night specifically, that's when we're expecting to see those showers return into the forecast. We're going to keep a close eye on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center too. Daytime highs along the bay, just a little bit more mild in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Along our inland spots, it's still a little bit below average, sitting mostly in the low 50s into this weekend. Back to you.
Well, community leaders in San Francisco are partnering with police to try to get guns off our streets. This weekend, United Playas is hosting a gun buyback event, and that comes less than 2 weeks after a Burton High School student who happens to be part of United Playas was shot in the leg on campus. Our Lauren Tom spoke with members of the group about how these buybacks can make a real difference.
These are port assault rifle. I get nervous when I touch it.
Rudy Corpus doesn't just work to stop gun violence, he's lived it. He grew up just blocks away in San Francisco's Tenderloin, where he says he was shot twice years ago. He says back then he carried 2 guns himself. Now those same weapons are what he's trying to take off the streets.
These are something that, was used against me and people I love and I know.
This weekend, Rudy and United Playas are hosting a gun buyback offering cash in exchange for firearms like these.
Those are the guns that we're talking about that are left unlocked in the house, loaded with kids in it, or in the cars, right, that are loaded, and you just could take it. You never know who's going to break into that car.
At each buyback, Rudy says about 250 to 300 guns are turned in, traded for up to $200. He's hosted dozens of these events before and says the impact can be felt on the streets. But this time, the stakes became painfully real just weeks ago when a teen in his own youth outreach program was shot at Burton High School in San Francisco.
This young kid was actually a part of helping out the gun buyback. He was passing out flyers. So he got shot about something that he was trying to prevent. 3 days before he had got shot, I was on the phone with him writing a college letter for him. He asked me to write a college letter for him to put on a letterhead. And so when I got the phone call and his mom and his sister was calling me crying and screaming, I was scared.
Police say the shooting was an isolated incident and a suspect was taken into custody. But the shooting sent shockwaves through the community and was a wake-up call for others in the program like Keenan's friend Kene, who says this work is more important than ever.
Makes me feel worried for the community.
San Francisco police say citywide gun violence is trending in the right direction. Homicides are down 15% compared to last year. But interim police chief Paul Yep says progress doesn't mean the work is done.
Shootings are down and homicides are at a 70-year low. We will not rest until we have brought justice to these victims.
And while statistics matter for Rudy, it's the outcome on the streets that matter more.
They're very effective. I wouldn't be doing it and if I didn't think it was, because to me, one gun off the streets is one gun that would not harm or hurt anybody.
So if you're interested, the event is tomorrow, 8 a.m. to noon at the United Players building on Howard Street, south of Market. You'll get anywhere from $100 to $200, depending on the type of firearm. The entire event is anonymous, and the SFPD says all the guns will then be destroyed. Well, that plan to allow taller, denser housing in parts of San Francisco is officially moving forward. Today, Mayor Daniel Lurie putting pen to paper and signing his controversial family zoning plan. His office says it's a key move that allows the city to fulfill the state's housing requirements. The mayor and supporters gathered this morning to celebrate.
Behind us is the kind of housing San Francisco used to build. Multi-family homes that add density, fit the neighborhood, and give workers and families a place to put down roots. Zoning decisions nearly 50 years ago made it so you couldn't build these types of homes in over half of San Francisco. This family zoning plan changes that. Across the city, many families are asking the same question. Can we afford to stay? Can our kids ever come back if they leave? As elected leaders, we have a responsibility to answer those questions with solutions. And the family zoning plan is one of the most important tools we have.
This is not just about the youth, but for our families that are raising us up, working to maintain a solid foundation so that our youth will be able to live and contribute to the growth of our community.
But critics say the family zoning plan could ruin the character of their quieter neighborhoods. The Board of Supervisors approved the plan earlier this month. President Trump is facing a major setback in Indiana amid his efforts to redraw congressional maps in favor of Republicans ahead of next year's midterm elections. Natalie Brand reports the development came on the same day the president signed an executive order establishing a single national framework for AI regulation.
19 ayes, 31 noes. This bill has been defeated.
It was a notable defection and divide among Republicans in Indiana after the state Senate voted against redrawing congressional maps ahead of next year's critical midterm elections.
I don't want to wake up the morning after the election in November and find out we lost the House of Representatives by 1 vote.
The proposed map would have made Indiana's 2 Democratic districts more favorable to Republicans. Despite pressure from the White House, 21 GOP state senators voted it down.
I, like a supermajority of you, do not want to see another Democrat Speaker of the House. But that isn't for me to decide. And it isn't for anyone in this body to decide either.
President's urging. President Trump also took executive action Thursday to try and restrict states from regulating artificial intelligence, saying he wants the U.S. to lead in the AI race.
Every time you make a change, and it could be a very reasonable change, you still won't get it approved if you have to go to 50 states. So this centralizes it.
But the order is likely to face legal challenges. And there's bipartisan concern among lawmakers, state leaders, and consumer groups who say there's not enough oversight of the fast-growing technology.
Well, the Trump administration said it would not oppose child safety measures for AI. San Mateo County making a big investment to keep the power on in a tiny coastal town that has really had some bad luck with it. County officials say the power has failed in Pescadero more than 400 times over just the past 2 years, including during that wave of atmospheric rivers in 2023. So the county just approved funding for a separate power grid called a microgrid that would be the largest of its kind in California. Our Suji Nam spoke with a 5th-generation grocery store owner who's hopeful about the changes that the project could bring.
The artichoke garlic herb bread, this is our signature item. We cook it hot all day long.
And what we do is we hand roll our electric carts into this bread.
It's a family recipe that spans 5 generations. And Chris Benedetti, the owner of Arcangeli grocery store in Pescadero, is carrying on the legacy.
It was my great-great-grandfather in 1929. He's actually this individual here. This was Sante Arcangeli, and the baby in the picture is actually my grandfather.
His great-great-grandfather built the store nearly a century ago.
Showing some of the floods.
Over that time, the building has withstood many natural disasters, from flooding to earthquakes. Most recently, during the winter storms of 2023, Benedetti and his neighbors were hit hard by flooding and power outages.
We actually had to install a generator in the back of our store because of the extended power outages, and now recently we've had outages that extended probably anywhere from 3 to 6 days of no power.
But now Benedetti is optimistic. San Mateo County officials said they're one step closer to securing a $16.5 million solar and battery microgrid project that would keep power on in Pescadero when the wider grid fails.
The grid is fairly fragile in the town of Pescadero. It's pretty rural on the south coast there, and so there hasn't been a ton of investment in their infrastructure.
But now it will be a game changer. Ryan Reynolds, the assistant director of the county's emergency management, says if approved, the single microgrid will be a backup source of power, not just for Pescadero, but for the entire South Coast region.
When the grid goes down, it allows the town of Pescadero to be separated from that grid, and then we will be generating sustainable power through solar generation and then battery backup. So when the power goes down, they'll be able to use this to supplement, and the grid, the microgrid for the town of Pescadero, will stay up and continue to provide power.
Officials say the project may take a year or two, but the microgrid will be a long-term solution to provide power for decades to come.
We are the only grocery store in the area, so it's important for us to be open for the local people too, and provide milk and water and stuff, especially during disasters and stuff when people can't go farther.
Benedetti hopes the new microgrid will help keep his doors open for generations to come.
So the next step, the county plans to apply for $3.5 million in funding from PG&E. If everything is approved, the project would enter an 18-month planning phase beginning in 2027. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, the need to feed a growing number of children, how a local group is stepping up to help students one snack bag at a time.
Hearing from kids who are telling us that, sometimes they only get one meal on the weekends.
Heading into this weekend's forecast, it's still a chilly one for us, widespread throughout the bay. Daytime highs sitting in the low 50s throughout our inland areas. That dense fog advisory this morning lifts around 11 a.m. throughout most our inland spots, and then we'll actually catch some sunshine as we head into our Saturday forecast, with rain returning right around the corner as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, as we head over into the bay, temperatures have actually been a little bit warmer for this time of year compared to our friends along our inland spots. 60s and upper 50s on tap for us each day, back and forth. We'll also get those chances of showers right around the corner too.
Well, the Niners are in the thick of the playoff race heading into Sunday's game at Levi Stadium, and a player who's new to the team is pushing for the Niners to have a December to remember. Matt Lively has his inspiring speech.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers begin a 4-game stretch to the playoffs on Sunday against the Titans. San Francisco is 9-4, which may surprise many after the team lost Nick Bosa and Fred Warner to season-ending injuries. One of the players the Niners brought in to replace the injured stars is Clelin Ferrell, who in just 4 games is tied for the team lead with 4 sacks. And on Thursday, Ferrell spoke to the team at practice to get them fired up for the playoff push.
A big part at this point in the year is understanding, like, get everybody on the train, like, get ready. Whether you see it or not, like, we trying to get there. So the biggest part, you got to have that belief. And if you get a chance to go out there and dress up on Sundays, you want the best in the world at what we do.
It was a pretty cool reminder just for all of us to hear that from Clee, and we can't forget and take this for granted. Like, we're end of the season, NFL ball, like, in December. Like, this is an exciting time. A lot of guys, really, I think, took that and it sort of fired everyone up.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
For more on this weekend's matchup, join Matt and Vern Glenn for their weekly Red and Gold Report tonight at 7:30 on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. Less than 2 weeks to go until Christmas. And as the holidays approach, food banks across the Bay Area say that they are seeing more families lining up hoping for help. In Sunnyvale, the need has grown so quickly that even local schools are asking for emergency food support. Len Ramirez shows us how Sunnyvale Community Services is trying to keep up and how you can help.
With the holidays around the corner, the lines are getting longer at Sunnyvale Community Services. Families like Guadalupe Diaz's rely on these groceries to get through the week.
Usually I come here just to get a little extra food so I can give it to my kids, and it's a big help like right now during the holiday season.
And in Silicon Valley, where the average rent for even a modest apartment can take up most of a family's income, parents must now face an impossible choice: pay rent, pay for gas, or buy food.
We're seeing a big influx of people that are coming more frequently for food.
Marie Bernard says the nonprofit agency is supplying food for thousands, good, hearty meals. And a newer trend, because the need is so great, especially for children, they're also packing thousands of snack bags to give to schools to send home with their students. They're packed with enough nutrition to get kids by if they're skipping meals.
The teachers, the guidance counselors, and the principals have something to give to a child who may have missed breakfast and may be missing dinner that night, and these children need some nourishment.
Each bag is filled with cereal and milk, fruit, water, and even vegetable snacks. But the need is rising quickly. The number of schools requesting snack bags went from 5 last year to 9 today.
They're coming to school hungry, they're unsheltered, they're worried about their safety and security. How can we ask them as adults, right, to focus on their academics?
The school superintendent says the district is now holding its own food distribution days, something officials say they never expected to take on.
The need is definitely expanding. We're hearing from kids who are telling us that, sometimes they only get one meal on the weekends, and that their frequent, consistent meals are happening here at school.
With cuts to SNAP benefits hitting families hard, many parents say they're struggling just to put food on the table, let alone buy gifts. Sunnyvale Community Services usually hands out about 3,000 toys. This year, they expect demand to be around 7,000.
It's a mixed message that we've got. We need food, and we also are trying to get gifts for the kids. So if people are able to do to be generous this year, to please think of whatever they can, whatever appeals to their hearts, to help the families have rent, food, and a gift for their child.
It's all about trying to fill the needs of the community.
Work does slow down during this time, so it's a little less work, and this is an extra help for us.
Guadalupe hopes one day she can fully support her own family, but for now, she says, knowing the community cares is what keeps her going through these hard times.
Well, if you want to support our Food for Bay Area Families initiative, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now or head to our website, kpix.com/give. There you'll be able to donate food or money or your time to local food banks across the Bay Area. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, we are going to meet a local family trying to revive a holiday neighborhood tradition.
I love that I get to help all the time with my dad, and I just like the joy that it brings to all the kids here.
How their festive display has also turned into a way to help neighbors in need. There is a family in the North Bay getting national attention for trying to revive a holiday tradition on their street. And as Kenny Choi shows us, they focused on keeping it local.
It's snowing in a fun, magical way on Emily Avenue, bringing Christmas cheer to all.
Big, great light displays when we were kids were all over the place, and then they kind of dwindled out.
James Nelson, his wife, and 3 children all pitch in to put up some 100,000 lights, although the number of days it takes is questionable.
Like a couple days.
12 years ago, the Nelsons got semi-inspired by families on reality TV out-dueling each other and decking the halls with lights. But what really made them finally go all in was when they began noticing other families in the neighborhood retiring their lights.
They kind of started getting older and tape fading out and not doing as much anymore, and somebody needed to be able to carry that on.
I love that I get to help all the time with my dad, and I just like the joy that it brings to all the kids here.
What they didn't expect were donations.
People started giving us money and we were like, we don't know what to do with it because that's not what we wanted, you know? And then we're like, okay, well, let's take it and donate it to something else.
They've held food drives over the years and helped the neighbors struggling with a medical emergency. Last year, they collected $1,500 and matched it. They'll do the same this year to benefit the Sozo Student Center, a nonprofit youth ministry in Rohnert Park.
This is just like, this is the amazing thing. I just like to see all the community come over here.
Just reminds them of when they were young, so that's exactly what we're looking for.
Spreading the love, dancing, joy, and light. It's the Nelson's North Pole and a tradition on this street in Rohnert Park that's growing larger and brighter each year.
Really cool. Well, we'd love you to join us Christmas Eve and Christmas night for our Holiday Lights special. Both evenings, we're sharing some of the season's best light displays from several Bay Area neighborhoods. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.